quorum. As soon as I think one over half of you are here, we're going to reconvene. I see you. Hi. Some of you are all there. All right, I'm glad to hear that. All right.
How they get that designation, I have not figured for the title of the room.
No, I haven't.
Heritage is H-R, and Elkhorn is E-M-R, and it does not make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Elkhorn Meeting Room.
Let's try to reconvene. Please urge those who are yet in the halls or the exhibit area to return to their places. We are ready to reconvene in a moment. The chair believes we have a quorum. Others will want to hurry in if you're within the sound of my voice. $397. Do you believe I have a quorum here?
Close.
The chair believes we have sufficient delegates to establish a quorum. The chair is going to recognize the speaker for microphone 7 and then for microphone 1 and for microphone 8.
Mr. Chairman, Dan Pickering,
Yes.
Central New York. I call for the question.
All right. Well, I hope the people that aren't going to vote the way you want to aren't in the room yet then, but we'll see how that goes. Teach them to take too long on a break, right? All right, this is a motion for the previous question. It requires a second. I think I heard that. And it is not debatable, takes a 2/3 vote. If you'll please take your electronic devices. If you are in favor of moving immediately to a vote on this question, you'll vote 1 for yes. If you want to continue the debate, you'll vote 2. You may now vote. Well, you may vote in a moment. You may now vote. 1 if you want to close debate, 2 if you want to continue debate. I think you're ready to vote on this memorial, aren't you? All right, we have Memorial 350 before us. Had I voted on the amendment? 350 is before us, unamended, so in its original form, you are now voting on Memorial 350. If you are in favor of adoption of this memorial, you'll vote 1 for yes. If you oppose this memorial, you will vote 2 for no. You may vote as soon as you see the timer begin. You may vote. The motion has failed. So 350 is not adopted. If you will indulge the chair, I know we have moved to memorials 350 through 370 as your desire. Is your 360? All right. We do, with the permission of the body, we do have one memorial that is needed prior to the area caucuses. Do I hear any objection to us moving to Memorial 397? The chair hears no objection. All right, if you'll please move to Memorial 397, which is on page 105 in the memorial section. The district conferences of the Kentucky District and the Tennessee District voted to merge, and on May 5th of this year, just a few weeks ago, we conducted the merging conference for the Kentucky-Tennessee District, which will become official on June 30th. We elected Dr. Marlon Hodel as their new district superintendent for the new district. That district needs to be assigned to a representative area for its participation and representation on the general board. They previously straddled 2 areas, and in order to have some equity, since one is going to move to another place, we also needed to make an adjustment to the north central area to allow the Indiana South District to have more inclusive representation opportunities. So this memorial is going to be read to you, which affects the potential reassignment to representative areas of these 2 districts. Let's hear the memorial read now.
Memorial 397, page 105. Whereas the Kentucky and Tennessee districts have merged to create the Kentucky-Tennessee District, thereby reducing the number of districts in the southern representative area, and whereas it is desirable to maintain as much as possible an equal number of districts in each representative area, in that representatives to the general board are elected from within the caucus of each representative area, resolved that the listing of districts in Discipline 2430 be amended by striking Indiana South so that it reads, the North Central representative area shall include the East Michigan, Greater Ohio, Illinois, Indiana Central, Indiana North, North Michigan, West Michigan, and Wisconsin districts. Resolved that Discipline 2440 be amended by adding Indiana South and combining Tennessee with Kentucky so that it reads, the Southern representative area shall include Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina East, North Carolina West, Shenandoah, South Carolina, South Coastal, and Indiana South districts. Mr. Chair, I move the adoption of Memorial 397.
All right, it is before us, and you've heard the rationale for it. The districts involved have been consulted. Any questions? The chair hears none, sees none. All right, if you're ready to vote on Memorial number 397, realigning these representative areas for the election of general board members from them in later this afternoon, would you say aye?
Aye.
If you're opposed, say no. It is carried and so ordered. It would be helpful if this was made effective immediately.
Mr. Chair, I would so move.
All right, it is moved that this be made effective immediately. Is there support? Moved with support. Any discussion? If you're in favor of making this effective immediately, would you say aye? If you're opposed, say no. And it is carried. And so ordered. Thank you. Now we return to, well, yeah, I did that. All right, let's go to Mr. Reader. Where do we start?
351, I believe, on page 93. This memorial is not recommended.
Yes.
Yep.
I asked if we voted on the amendment.
I did vote on the. Oh, no.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Amendment we voted on earlier, and it lost 164 to 165. Now, you voted on the amendment.
Thank you.
The vote was 164, 165. And the previous question
All right.
was 264, 17.
Microphone 6.
Mark Wilson, Wisconsin District. I move that this memorial be read.
All right. Is there support? Chair hears support. We'll ask the reader to read the memorial. Oh, excuse me. You need to decide if you want to hear it. All right. If you are in favor of the reading of memorial number 351, would you say aye? If you're opposed to the reading of 351, would you say no? Chair believes the noes have it. Let's move to Memorial 352.
Memorial 352 on page 94 is not recommended.
All right. Yes. Microphone 2.
Mr. Chairman, Mark Brummels, North Michigan District. I ask that this memorial be read.
All right. Is there a second? Motion with support to hear the reading of Memorial 352. If you are in favor of hearing the reading, would you say aye? If you oppose the reading of Memorial 352, say no. We will not hear Memorial 352. Let's move to 353.
Memorial 353 is located on page 95 and is not recommended.
Microphone 7.
Read.
All right. Is there support for the motion to be read? Chair hears support. If you're in favor of the reading of a Memorial 354, right? 353. If you're in favor of hearing the reading of 353, would you say aye? If you're opposed, say no. The noes have it. Memorial 354.
354 on page 96 is not recommended.
All right, let's move on to the next memorial.
I believe that would be Memorial 360 on page 97, which is not recommended.
All right, let's move on. We're back now to Memorial 180.
Memorial 180.
Page 52, Chair believes.
Page 52. Whereas Discipline 800 currently lists positions that shall or may be elected by the local church conference or that shall or may be delegated to the local Board of Administration for election or appointment, and it would be helpful for these lists to be more simply classified and clarified. Resolved that Discipline 800 be amended by substituting the following for the current paragraph.
You would not like to hear this read, would you? All right. Does the chair hear anybody that really wants to hear this read? If you see anybody that really wants it read, would you grab them and put your hand over their mouth before we... All right. All right. Would you like to move its adoption?
So the resolve is that any other related references in the discipline be amended as needed by the Discipline Editing Committee to conform with this action. And, Mr. Chair, I move the adoption of 180.
All right, 180 is before us, coming recommended by the Committee on Memorials. Friends, this is simply a very clear listing in the discipline in the appropriate place of the various local church personnel that shall be elected or that may be elected, and who would actually do the election, whether it's the local church conference or the local board of administration. And so it's that straightforward. Any questions? Yes, microphone 2.
Mr. Chairman, Mark Rummels, North Michigan District. One question, I see the nominating committee listed twice once under item 3 and also once under item 4. Item 3 is where the local church conference is electing. Item 4 is where the local board of administration is electing. I thought that was the difference. However, under both cases, it says that 2 members are elected by the local board of administration from its membership, and up to 4 non-members elected by the local church conference. It seems a redundancy to have it listed in both places, unless there's something I'm missing. The other item I noticed is you have the spiritual formation director or Sunday school superintendent is appointed or elected by the local board of administration rather than the local church conference. I believe that's different than what the discipline states now. So unless there's something I'm misunderstanding here, I would move that we amend this to eliminate under item 4 on the second page or on page 53, lines 6 through 8, where the nominating committee is placed a second time, and that we move line 11, the spiritual formation director or Sunday school superintendent, over under item 3.
All right. If the chair may help you just a bit,
Okay.
In Discipline 820, which talks about the nominating committee, there are 2 options, and the listing here recognizes the possibility of either of those options. The first option is that the pastor as chair and 2 covenant members elected by the LBA serve as the nominating committee. The second option is that the local church conference may at its choice add up to 4 additional members to the nominating committee. So it's listed in both places simply to say if the church chooses, the local church conference may elect 4 people. That would be the second listing that you're referring to. And the first one simply says there will be 2 members elected from the or by the LBA for the normal nominating committee. All right, so that one is simply a recognition that there are 2 options.
It still seems confusing the way it is, but
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, each of these sections is listing the officer who elects these actual personnel. So it was necessary to put it in both places. However,
And-
the second one,
The second one was the Sunday school superintendent, which is 887 through 890.
and where is it listed in the memorial that you're questioning?
It's on on page 53, line 11, which is under those that are elected by the local board of administration.
All right, and again, this is reading from the discipline on 889. The local church conference at its annual session may elect by ballot a spiritual formation director, and there is also another option here if I can find it. Can anyone else help me that's conducted this election recently? I don't mean to debate your offered amendment, but I don't want us to spend time debating it if it's unnecessary.
I agree.
Dr. Hodel may be able to help us. All right, may we indulge the, do you have information that would help us? Dr. Hodel?
Actually, it goes to the previous item. I do believe the wording of the explanation, Dr. Pence, is not needed on the second nominating committee, because the idea is the nominating committee, according to discipline, can either be elected according to what we have under 3. Under number 4, it would be entirely elected by the local church board. Therefore, the explanation is a redundancy that is not necessary
All
because
right.
it reads the same. So that would
All
need
right.
to be editorially eliminated.
All right, if you'd like to offer your amendment, sir, we will we'll consider it. All right, so offer your amendment again. Chair apologizes for any confusion here.
Okay, if I'm understanding correctly, under the item number 4, where nominating committee is, it would just say nominating committee without having any explanation of the members.
All right, and then on the
And then
second part.
also, did we make a decision regarding the Sunday school superintendent? Are you saying it says there that that can be done either way?
The discipline says they may elect, so that's why it's listed in this section.
Would it be good then to also add that under item number 3 then, as is if, you know, if the local church decides that?
It would seem so to me right now, but we'll let the body decide. So your amendment, your offered amendment is to strike on line 6, 7, and 8, all words after the parentheses showing nominating committee, to strike all the explanatory information there,
Correct.
and also to,
Add after line 35, the same information that's on line 11, the spiritual formation director or Sunday school superintendent.
all right?
And I don't know if there's additional words that need to be there to allow for the choice between those two.
All right, this seems in order to the chair. Is there a second for the amendment? All right, there's a motion to amend with support by inserting on line 35 under paragraph 800, subparagraph 3, a new item which is spiritual formation director or Sunday school superintendent with the appropriate discipline reference. That will be added after line 35. And then on the next page, under line 6, 7, and 8, leave nominating committee with the appropriate discipline reference and strike the remainder of that explanation. That's the offered amendment. Any discussion? If you're in favor of, yes, microphone 8.
Mr. Chairman, Bob Strump, Penn Jersey. If I'm reading correctly, the Sunday school superintendent, while it's an optional office, its election is by the local church conference, not by the local board. Unless I'm reading that wrong, we need to delete reference to the Sunday school superintendent from the category 4 that's listed there.
Well, again, this is, I'm referring to discipline 889. What paragraph are you in?
That's the paragraph. That's where it says the election is by the local church conference.
As a may elect.
It's a may. The 4 categories listed in this memorial, category 3 is a may of elections by the local church conference. Category 4 is a may of elections by the local board.
Yes,
I'm
correct. Thank
missing
you.
in the discipline
Right.
any reference to Sunday school superintendent elected by the local board.
Thank you. That's
So
the
in-
clarification we need. We
So
don't
then
want,
Oh, go ahead.
Yes,
Procedurally, what do we need to do? There needs to be a another deletion.
may the chair offer some help?
Please do.
All right. We need to strike, it appears to the chair, line 11 on page 53, because that is what we're now adding to under line 35.
My only question now is what's the right procedural basis to do that?
Common consent.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Does anyone object? All right. All right, Chair knows this is becoming confusing. The discipline gives options for how these local church leaders are elected, or either by the local church conference or the local board. Because it gives those options, we've listed some of these in 2 different places, but inadvertently we have put the Sunday school director or Sunday school superintendent or spiritual formation director as an individual that could be elected by the LBA. That is not an option in the discipline as we're reading it. They are elected by the local church conference. So the amendment as proposed is to insert spiritual formation director or Sunday school superintendent under subpoint 3. It would follow line 35 on page 53, and then we would clean up the nominating committee mention in the next portion. Yes, microphone 7.
I can't believe how much I hate to do this. Isaac Smith from Dakota, but spiritual formation director, I believe, sir, can be elected by the local board. It is only the Sunday school superintendent that needs to be elected by the local church conference. So we should not remove both of them from the may on the board, just the Sunday school superintendent.
I don't mind getting corrected if it's getting it right. Can you point out the paragraph, sir, for us? All right. I do think that Jim Dunn ought to speak to this, don't you? The Director of Spiritual Formation. Pardon? Not here. All right. That'll teach him. That'll teach him.
He's doing work right now on spiritual formation.
Let the chair offer a suggestion. Would you like to table this and pick it up after we've made some corrections to it, or postpone it for consideration later? All right. May the chair hear such a motion? All right. There's a motion to postpone this. We'll revisit as soon as we have the proper minds figure out what we need to do with it. All right. And there was support. If you're in favor of postponing this, would you say aye? Aye. If you're in favor, say aye. Excuse me. If you're opposed, say no. You already voted yes. If you don't want to postpone this, say no. Thank you. It is postponed. Let's move on to the next memorial.
Memorial 195 on page 54 is not recommended.
All right, let's move to the next memorial.
Next memorial is Memorial 200 on page 56. 220, I'm sorry, 220. Whereas Discipline 1172 makes provision for each district to have a district conference nominating committee to present nominations for various offices and committees that serve the district, and whereas the District Board of Administration should provide for representation of all constituents and perspectives from within the district, resolve that the duties of the District Conference Nominating Committee in Discipline 1175 be amended by inserting a new subparagraph 3 and renumbering the subparagraph that follows. The new subparagraph shall read, to give special consideration for the nomination of persons that reflect the full scope of the district's geographical, ethnic, and gender constituency. The amended Discipline 1175 shall then read in its entirety. The duties of this committee shall be determined by the district conference and may include such as the following: to present nominations for the district secretary, district treasurer, members at large on the district board of administration, and each elected delegate to the general conference; to present nominations for each of the following in accord with the requirements and regulations for each as set forth in the discipline and in keeping with the provisions of the discipline for various options in combining responsibilities or referring the power of nomination or election to other bodies. The District Conference Action Committee, the District Building Committee, the District Statistical Committee, the District Director of Church periodicals, the District Director of Evangelism and Church Growth, the District Director of Global Partners, the District Sunday School Director, and the District Director of Leadership Training, the District Director of Children's Ministries. to give special consideration for the nomination of persons that reflect the full scope of the district's geographical, ethnic, and gender constituency, to present any other nominations as shall be requested by the district conference. Mr. Chair, I move the adoption of Memorial 220.
All right, it is before us. We have reached the time for a special order, however, and so we will delay debate on this until after the area caucuses. It seems to be an appropriate reminder to us that there are diverse constituencies in the Wesleyan Church from which we want to select our leaders. You are going to be assigned to an area caucus, which will enable you to select 3 nominees for lay members. They must be covenant members of the church to serve on the General Board of Administration, as well as 3 ordained ministers from your area who will serve on the General Board. There are 4 representative areas of the church. Each of them will come back to us after these caucuses with the nominees for those 6 leaders to serve on the General Board, and we will elect them as the whole body will participate in their election. Let the chair instruct you as to the locations of the caucuses and those who will chair those various caucus meetings. Those districts which are part of the North Central Administrative Area, and help me have that list. All right.
North Central area will meet in Heritage Boardroom number 2. Northeast will meet in Heritage Boardroom number 1. Southern in Heritage Boardroom number 3. And West in Elkhorn Boardroom C.
All right, delegates are going to need to know which of these caucuses to go to, and we're going to rely on the district superintendents to inform your delegates which representative area you are part of. Please remember that we have just reassigned the Kentucky-Tennessee District and the Indiana South District to the Southern representative area. So if you're delegates from those districts, please be sure you know which way you're going. Yes, we have a question here.
The microphone, this John Bray, Illinois District, the microphone was not up very loud when those assignments were read. We wondered if they could be repeated.
Yes, we will do so, and I'll also inform you of the chairs for those various caucuses. The North Central representative area districts are going to be chaired by H.C. Wilson in Heritage 2, Heritage Ballroom 2. The Southern representative area will be chaired by myself in Heritage Ballroom 3. The districts that are part of the Northeastern representative area will be chaired by Dr. Joanne Lyon in Heritage 1. The Western representative area will be chaired by Dr. Harry F. Wood in Elkhorn C. These are all printed on page 9 in your conference brochure. If you need that reference, district superintendents, if you'll please make sure your delegates get to the right room, we'll appreciate that. We will be in recess now until our 7 o'clock session. It's now time for the caucuses.
So when
Okay.
they come back at 7, we hear the nominations.
We hear the nominations. Well, we have start with Memorial 220.
I nominate